Sorry guys, this is going on YouTube, so I thought I'd just make it freeze for everyone at home for a bit. So the internet's going, they'll reset the routine. So I'm a particle physicist, which normally gets a few weird reactions. So some weird ones, we arranging a funeral a while ago, which makes me sound like I'm in the mafia, I realise. It wasn't quite like that. But we had the vicar around, saw an funeral, and he just done a PhD in theology. So he turned to me and said, "Oh, so what's your PhD in?" Particle physics. Jesus Christ! Not the reaction I thought from the vicar. But I thought the weirdest reaction I've ever got was, you know, you get some people that you're at school with, and they're a bit thick. I mean, not just a bit dim, I mean, they're really just nothing. The ones who have to revise for respiration. The ones that haven't sat on chairs before, you know, that's it. And I bumped into them, and they're like, "Oh, so what you do?" They're from Wolverhampton now. "What you doing now then?" PhD in particle physics. And they were like, which is a word in Wolverhampton. It's not disgusting. That's a bit rude, really. You can't just look at me and go, "That's rude," talking about my career choices. And no, I don't have any spare change. Thank you for asking. So particle physics is a bit of a strange one for a lot of people. A lot of people perhaps haven't come across an awful lot of it. And one of the things you might come across really is Brian Cox's shows and that sort of thing. But the trouble is with that, they're all good. I appreciate the guy, full respect. He's getting the word of physics out to the public, which means that we get funding. Without that, we'd have nothing. But his shows can be a bit vague. He'll go on and you can spend an hour watching the show and all you really get is, so you think that space is dead big and that. That's pretty much all you've got. I mean, I don't wonder if you just wander around, just explaining things to everybody just in day-to-day life. Maybe his parents would have had a go at him when he was little for making a model solar system with his mashed potato, as he seems to do on the BBC. And "Brian, what have we told you about making model solar systems with your lunch?" You said it would be amazing. What did we really tell you, Brian? You said don't do it. And what did you do? I did it. And that's how he goes on like that. I mean, but see, we get some weird reactions, but I mean, it's a good field. I think it's a misunderstood field, but it's quite weird. I mean, you get a lot of mixed response from people outside of particle physics about us who do that sort of thing, but also even within the field, you get people with such wildly differing opinions. So one of the things to do is really, people have so many specific reasons as to why somebody else's theory is a load of rubbish. It's almost like you've been a connoisseur about your theory. It's like particle physics, or is it like wine or beer? It's like you get someone else's theory, like my beer here, and you go, "Yeah, well, I'm getting notes of, Lagrangians and all this math." Really, people are so often to point out faults in a theory they have no idea what on about. It's not quite the same as me picking up my beer and going, "I'm getting pissed." But really, I mean, so my research in particle physics is particularly on theories that go beyond what we know already. So we're looking for, there's some physics that we can measure at the Large Hadron Collider in Geneva, where I'm hoping to go out, or I will go out in about a year's time to work there. And we measure some physics that basically doesn't quite agree with the theories that we've got so far. And there's all these new theories, and really what we're trying to do by smashing these atoms together, people say, "Well, can't you cause black holes and blow the world up and all this?" And we have a word for that in the field. It's what's technically known as bollocks. We can't blow the world up, we just can't do it. There's so much more energy going on in our atmosphere, we just can't measure it, because you'd be holding a detector like this trying to measure it all the time, and you can't do that. So really, we're just smashing these together. But you can make a fraction of a grain of sand. It's that low. It's the precision by which we can measure it. So we find that there are problems in the existing physics that doesn't explain everything in the universe, so we're looking for new things. And really, by that, what we're doing is taking a snapshot, like a tiny, tiny fraction of time after the birth of the universe, to see what things were like then. It's generally known that at that sort of time, the whole universe was just a mush. It was like a soup of rubbish. It was boiling hot soup of absolute rubbish, which in some ways is a bit like homeopathic medicine. And people have one theories on what this rubbish did, a bit like homeopathic medicine. The difference is that all physicists agree that this early universe stuff did something. So is anybody here a fan of homeopathic medicine? Anyone? No, last natural selection for you, isn't it? What I really want to do now is sort of just quell some of the myths that you might have heard with physics and things. I mean, there's the sort of the two types of what people think physics often is, which is what they've seen on the telly and things, and what it really is like. So really what you'll have seen is like the start of Angels and Demons, the sequel to the Da Vinci Code with Tom Hanks and all those. And you see, it starts off at CERN, the Large Hadron Collider, and unlike the reality where it's miles underground and you're way away from it because it's all through radiation, in that they've got a lab with a control room, all the scientists are far better looking than they really are, and they've got a window, a bit of glass like that there, and the accelerator and all the collisions and everything, they're all just the other side of it, like 6 feet away. And then you've got the vicar there, sat next to it on a stool, trying to exercise the thing. Because some of these nutters believe it's the devil in machine form. And really, he'd just get ripped apart by radiation, and the whole thing's like +1 above absolute zero is properly called. So you couldn't be anywhere near there at all. You'd ruin the experiment, and it would ruin you. So you don't really want to be there at all. The reality is really a lot of people sat in offices on computers. It's more interesting to me, at least, because it's less showy, but you actually get into the whole thing. It looks a bit more boring at first glance because people going like this. Damn it, the code didn't work. Try again. And then spending weeks and weeks doing that really. So really to me the best way I can sort of compare it is like the Hollywood science is like your American car chase TV cop shows. And the real science is like your British car chase TV cop shows. So in the American one, you see this guy and he's stolen some Chevy worth £100,000 or something. And he's plummeting down the motorway or the freeway at like 200 miles an hour with like 13 police cars, 2 helicopters and a tank chasing after him. And they're shooting at him, they're shooting all the holes in him, they put the stinger out in front of him, all the tyres are gone, they keep shooting, the car's on fire, and he rolls it through a ditch. Somehow he carries on. Eventually the car comes to a stop, they ram into him, and they tase him a few times, he gets back up, he runs through to someone's back garden and hides in the bin. They drag him out the bin, because it's obvious where he is, the helicopter saw him go in the bin. They drag him out, and then it's like the end of Blues Brothers, where you've got like 200 guns at him like that. And he puts his hands up in the air, unarmed, put his hands up. And that scares the American police officers, obviously, they think that's intimidating, so they shoot him. And then you see an interview with the guy afterwards who shot him. It's like, well, I felt intimidated, so involuntary reflex, I shot, I fired. Well, yeah, but you shot him 17 times in the face. And your gun only holds 12 bullets, so sometimes during this involuntary reflex, he stopped and reloaded. Not quite the same. And then, it sounds like Hollywood science, it's all show and everything, all action. Your real science is more like the British one, where you get that Liverpudlian commentator. It's like, PC's Charlie and Dave are on patrol in Chichester, and I see a Vauxhall Corsa with one headlight out. They're going for a closer look. And the pulls over, and the guy gets in the car, nice and calm and everything, and then you think, he's going to kick off, is he going to knife somebody, what's going to go on? And then it ends with, what the driver don't realise is, he's got no tax or MOT. I'm at that round here. I guess a lot of you guys have lived here for a while. I've only just moved in October, but first thing I found, driving around here, absolute nightmare. It's like they took all the roadsides down in the war to confuse the invasion, and then just never go back up again. It's like you're trying to park somewhere, you can't park anywhere. The trick I found so far, you can get about an extra half an hour if you put your hazards on. But the best trick, if you're never going to get a parking ticket, you just put your windscreen wipers on fast wipes, they'll be like that. But as a physicist, I can't not end with a physics joke. So I'll leave you with this. There are 2 physicists in a boat, rowing gently down the Solent, having a nice afternoon out. And one of them says to the other, picks up a box of cigarettes out of his pocket and says, fancy a smoke, old chap? Oh, sure, why not? So I take one each, put it in my mouth, and then, I've got nothing to ignite it with. Have you? No, not even any matches, nothing at all. So they ponder for a bit. And the second physicist grabs the cigarette out of the first physicist's mouth and throws it overboard. What the hell did he do that for? Now this whole boat is one cigarette lighter. Thank you very much.